Okay, good morning everyone, and thank you for joining me for another special, no, this isn't special health focus. This is Chen style class, and let's see if we can get it square. Yes, Chen style Tai Chi class. So let's take right hand in fist please, and left hand straight, pulling back that thumb with the feet together, bring the hands together and press forwards. Lovely. And I just want you to check in with your body first of all, ease into some movement. My computer is annoying me, hold on. There we go. Saying, try AI companion. No, I just want to teach a class, please. Good, so let's ease into our four corners of the hips and just let everything roll gently around. Keep the top of the head floating up, the chin slightly down and back. So we are like a pendulum in our movement. The top of the head just remains drawing upwards and the hips nice and loose, and breathe. So you'll notice this in your Tai Chi journey, there is a lot of repetition. And there's good reason for that, because we're doing Kung Fu. Kung Fu basically means to study hard, to work hard. It doesn't actually mean martial arts, but it's synonymous with martial arts because anything that you practice again and again, you will build a kind of skill set in that thing that is very hard to beat. So repetition is actually key to our health, key to muscle memory, key to automatic movement. So if you do something enough times, the body will slot into a groove with it and just do it. So we still want our conscious awareness to be there, to companion the body and gently guide the body. But as the body does hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of repetitions, it needs less and less guidance, and it becomes more a companion. The mind and the body are working together as opposed to one leading the other. So as we still concentrate and feel our way, we can pick up on nuances of how the body is behaving. We can create subtle polish. We can make subtle changes if necessary. So even after you have done a movement hundreds, thousands of times, we still treat it as if it's the first time we're doing it. So do you see the contradiction that we want it to be so familiar that it happens automatically, but we still treat the experience as if we've never done it before. And by doing that, we have every opportunity to have fresh insight in our state of well-being, our functionality, and we still have that window of learning. So maybe there's something to learn in each rotation. So we really have to listen, feel, and let go. And it does change. Remember, it changes every time you do it. The muscles are a moment older, and they have been used the more you progress, so there's maybe some fatigue. So we need to take into account each moment as we practice, as if we've never experienced this move before, so that we can give our system its best outcome. And we can also gauge when to stop. So if you just set your body running and then watch TV, you may go too much, you may go too far, and then have to rest longer to recover. So let's change direction now, please. As a rule of thumb, our Grandmaster does this exercise with 500 cycles in each direction every day. And that might sound like a lot, but feel how gentle this movement is. It's like walking. In fact, it's probably more gentle than walking. And so if you have built up your repetitions, 500 is really quite comfortable. But until you have built it up, try doing 30 in each direction. The folks who join this class, I think, are beyond doing 30. You could probably do easily 100 in each direction, and then each day build it up. Maybe try doing 100 in each direction twice a day, and then try 200 in a day and see how you get on. Again, you're listening and feeling so that you're able to gauge when you've had enough. And interestingly, some days, even when you have built up capacity, some days doing 100 will be enough. And other days you can do 500 easily. So again, we have to address each movement as if it's your first, and listen to your body and notice, how does it feel? So I'm deliberately doing more than we often do in class together because I want you to get a feel for it. Not everyone, unfortunately, goes off and does their homework diligently. I'm sure you do. But just in case, I want you to feel a little bit more repetition within the class. Repetition, folks, is absolute key. If a movement is worth doing, it's worth doing 10,000 times. If it's beneficial once, just think how much more benefit you will get if you do it 10,000 times. But again, we have to build it up. So what is this good for? Everything. It circulates the chi, it loosens the joints, it strengthens the muscles, it balances the muscles because there's a lot of muscles connecting your body and your legs. It helps to soothe and calm the nervous system. It helps to balance the blood pressure. It helps increase stamina and endurance. It helps with foot balance. It helps with leg strength. It helps with core stability. It helps with endless things. We're building awareness in our center. We're building fine-tuned coordination. The list goes on and on. So don't forget to do this exercise, please. If you do nothing else between your classes, when you're waiting for the kettle to boil, do a few repetitions of this. But remember, try to get both sides equally. Good, so let's bring everything gently back to center. We lengthen up through the top of the head, the chin slightly down and back, and let the body release and hang. And we're just going to stand for a moment and listen to the outcome of what we've just done. Listen to your body. Notice if there are muscles that are tensing, or if there are areas that are tired, and breathe and let go through those areas. Notice any sensations. Sometimes as we do that exercise, even when we stop moving, you'll feel like the energy around you is spiraling, like you're still moving even though you're in stillness. And it's actually a really lovely sensation. Once you realize it's not doing you any harm, it's not dizziness, It's the fact that you have stimulated the energy to flow around your body. So if you experience that, don't panic. Relax and enjoy it. Breathe into it. Let go into the feeling. It's like you have your own little satellites flowing around you. You have your own energetic whirlwind. So let's jump straight into a little bit of standing. We're going to find our fingers, and just for a moment, just look down and check that your feet are where you thought they were and that they're parallel. So doing that exercise can create micro movements, and so you may start with your feet parallel, but when you finish, you could have a really off foot position. So regardless, just have a little check. Whenever it comes to standing practice, just have a little check. And then again, lengthening up through the top of the head, bringing the chin slightly down and back. Release, relax your arms gently down. And allow your fingers to extend towards the floor. So we're going into a phase of exercise called Wu Ji, which means universal oneness or emptiness. Now normally in Chen style we do Wu Ji with our feet together, but we're kind of doing a flow hybrid here. So we're going from our warm-up and straight into Wu Ji. So technically we should have our feet together, but instead we're starting from here. But what I would like you to do is take your time and release from the top of the head all the way down over the front, over the back, over the sides. And think of the two legs as one. So you can almost visualize a sort of long skirt. So even though the legs are a little distant from each other, we want to think of it as one unit going all the way down into the floor. Feel the weight is evenly distributed across the feet. And if you need to make any adjustments, if you feel you're rolling in or out, or indeed if you feel right but you see in a reflection that something is not level, then we fix it by moving here. We move from center. Rather than trying to shift on our feet, we can do micro movements, or even just thinking of rolling around the hips once more, and you'll find that that distributes the weight more evenly across the feet. Good, so let's float the hands forwards and away. Feel for a connection between the two hands. And once you have that feeling, gradually draw the hands in and up. Relaxing the thumbs, just keeping all the digits awake and aware. Bring the hands to roughly just above the waist. Now, unless your energy is really blossoming, the hands should be quite close to the body. The elbows released and relaxed down. The shoulders released and flowing out to the sides and down. Keeping the top of the head floating up, the chin slightly down and back. Breathe and release. Now, most commonly, when I see this done from beginners, they have released their tail down as if they're sitting, and that's correct. We want to release down as if we're perched on a high stool. But we want to be very careful that we don't then hinge the top of the body backwards. And if people knew they were doing it, they wouldn't do it. So I'm going to show you from the side. As I say, if people go to sit down, they'll release their tail down, but their upper back seesaws. Do you see that? It seesaws back. And actually then they're leaning back a little bit. And it's because they haven't released this scoop in the back. So we want to release belly, hips and knees, but we want to keep the upper body upright. And we can help ourselves do that as we breathe by releasing and relaxing the rib cage down and back towards the spine. So in effect, we're breathing and filling into our back. And so you will feel naturally as you allow the rib cage to release down and back against the spine, the small of the back becomes smooth. Do you see now that my back looks quite straight, quite flat? But we don't just want a flat back. A physio, actually my cousin, looked at me and said flat back, and she wasn't being complimentary. She thought that was a bad thing. But in Tai Chi, because we are creating traction, we are lengthening up through the top of the head and releasing the tailbone down and relaxing the rib cage against the spine. Then we get a flat back, but it's an elongated back. We are experiencing release between the vertebrae. And this allows a really beautiful, easy flow for the nervous system. So this is not a posture we want to take in our daily life when we're walking around, shopping, doing our thing. This is a Tai Chi posture. It is designed to give you relief and build strength. So make sure you're not leaning your upper body back. The other day I actually saw someone leaning their upper body forwards, which does happen, but it's a lot less common. But we are aiming for the plumb line. And we're aiming to do it through relaxation rather than forcing our bodies into position. So allow yourself to breathe and let go. You may notice as you practice standing, because you're letting go, letting go, letting go, you may find you're getting deeper and deeper into your stance. And unless that's your, unless that's your focus, we don't need that. So every so often you can check, and if you do feel you're getting a bit low, you can actually straighten your legs a little bit. As long as the knees are off the lock, that's enough for standing practice. So you can straighten your legs, think of by lengthening up the top of the head a little bit, and then see if you can check your alignment. Check again that your rib cage is releasing down and back against your spine. The shoulders are releasing and flowing out to the sides. The elbows are heavy. The hands are straight from the forearm. They keep going straight until your knuckles, and then the fingers are softly curved in. So there's no bend at the wrist. Good job. Okay, so we'll just stand quietly for a few seconds, listening, feeling, and letting go. Very good. Let's very gently and softly lower the arms down. And cover center. Hug your elbows gently in. Breathe and feel the warmth of your hands flowing into your center. Good. Now we're going to massage the belly around, and we're going to go to the right side first and over the top, down the left side and underneath. Keep your upper body steady, so the movement is in your lower body. Good, and change direction. Cover center again. And continue to breathe, calm and relax down into your belly. Good, relax your arms gently down. Feed into your right, empty your left, and close and recover, easing out of your stance and a little move around. Good, so we did a little bit longer in standing practice today. However, I would like you to do a lot more than that if you can. I need to do it as well. I do not want to be a hypocrite. I've been trying this week. I've been doing standing every day, and I'm going to continue. We've got Master Chen coming over to Donegal, God willing, in October, and at the end of October, the Halloween weekend, or just before. And yeah, and I have dropped the ball. I have not been doing my standing practice every day without fail, and I can tell. I don't know if you can tell, but I certainly can tell. It makes a huge difference when we do it, and it makes a huge difference, unfortunately, when we don't. So I know that there are certain postural corrections I need to work on, and while we're busy doing complex movements, it's not the time to try to fix underlying postural and alignment issues. You can try, but it takes all our focus to do the movements as well as we possibly can, without then also trying to address continual misalignments. So standing practice is really, as I keep going on about, it's key. And even though I have dropped the ball, recently on doing it every day without fail, I do notice when I do it, it is hugely beneficial. It really comes. Now, just a wee note, move around please. While I talk about this, you can do some circulations down the leg. We were talking about fuel allowance before class started, which for the majority of my students is a topic of interest at least. But when you're doing standing practice, I have noticed, like in this room, it's very warm. We keep this room on average around 22 degrees. That's our degrees C. That's our sort of preferred temperature, because this is my parents' living room and they are in their 80s and they're not, at least my dad is not very mobile. Let's change feet please and circle. So 22 degrees is a very comfortable temperature, if you can get it, to sit and lounge, to not do a lot of physical movement. Change direction, please. However, to do standing practice in a room at 22 degrees, I find is actually quite draining. It's not optimal. You're better to train, for me, I'm better to train around 18 degrees. That's about comfortable. So if you find that when you're doing your standing, you actually feel really drained, and if it is a warm room, that may be the culprit. It's actually possible that, standing practice is actually heating your system. It's a very powerful, energetic practice. It builds your chi, so it builds heat within your body. So if the room is very warm, it can actually become draining. A bit like having a really hot bath. Have you ever noticed that you get into the bath and you just, you feel exhausted afterwards because your body has been very strongly heated. Not necessarily a bad thing. It's great for helping you to relax. But in my opinion, trying to do a stand in a very hot room is counterintuitive. It's not going to be the best for you. So if you're going to do your stand, I don't suggest a cold room either. Like at 16 degrees, that's starting to get a bit cold for me. And anything under that, I actually end up getting numb fingers. The Raynaud's or whatever it's called kicks in, and my body tries to keep my organs warm and my fingers go numb. So that's too cold as well. So you really need the, the Goldilocks approach of, it just has to be just right. Find a comfortable space. So maybe for some households, the kitchen might be a wee bit cooler than your sitting room. So find a space that is warm but not hot, out of a draft as well. So you can do it outside by all means, but if you are practicing outside, make sure there's no draft, and probably best not to do it in the ring. So no wind, no rain, so that you are comfortable and you're able to get the most out of your practice. Okay, so let us move on, please. We'll do a little bit of a leg stretch and then we'll go into our form. So we turn out one foot. Let's do it right. We're going to not turn out the foot, sorry. Keep the feet parallel, kick and step down. Now it doesn't have to be a high kick, but that gives you the right alignment for this particular move. So we're circling forwards and back. It's a little bit harder with the foot parallel at the back, but try it. Gently forwards and back, and breathe. And smile. Good. All right, let's feed the weight back. Slide the hand down to just above the knee. Lengthen the spine and hinge forwards from the hips. And we just want to get that lovely feeling of stretch. Now, if it's comfortable to do so, you can breathe and release, release, release into a gentle pulse. But if that's not comfortable, don't do it. You can just breathe and relax, but lengthen the spine. Don't just collapse forwards. Good, let's release and pull those front toes back and take hold, if you can, with the same side hand as foot. The other hand is gently bracing the knee, encouraging it to stay straight. It doesn't have to be absolutely straight, but try to encourage it back. Good. Relax your foot down, feed your weight forwards, and up you come. And then you can release, have a little movement. I always like to just feel the difference before and after between the 2 feet. And then we do it on the other side. Ready? So we're going to kick the leg out to bring it down, and that has given us our correct width. So we go forwards and back, keeping the heel down at the back, and breathe. Relax. Oh my goodness, I see myself in the screen And I go, yeah, I really need to do more standing. My head is off to one side, one shoulder is up. And it's the same correction for over 20 years. But I think it's the way I lie in bed, to be honest. So the standing practice helps correct it, but my other behaviours maybe bring it back. So let's feed the weight back, hand above the knee, lengthen the spine, hinging forwards, and breathe. Good, and pull those toes back, take hold. So I think it's very interesting and reassuring, the path that we walk on Tai Chi, in Tai Chi. Good, relax the foot down, feed the weight forwards, up you come. After an exam that I did with Master Chen, my teacher Jill said, okay, now, we're all peers, we're all students of Tai Chi. Nobody is higher or lower, regardless of how much you have studied, no matter how much you have done. We're all walking the path. Nobody's perfect. Even the Grand Master often asks his senior students to correct him in his posture. And often the response by the students, they look at him and go, how am I going to correct you? He's so perfect. They don't see any deviation at all. And yet he's asking for correction because he can feel that there is more to be done, that there are intricacies. So you just, in that case, you do your best, obviously, and try to perfect perfection. But in general, all of us have deviation. All of us are somewhat off in our alignment or in our practice. So I was really pleased with my teacher that day when Jill said that to me, because it's easy to have airs and graces the longer that we study our Tai Chi. And often, people say, how long have you been studying? And I'll say, oh, I've been doing it 8 years. And how long? Oh, 15 years. Oh, 20 years. And actually the number of years, though it's impressive, doesn't signify anything, because you could have been doing the same mistakes or building new mistakes, new deviation over that time. So it's diligence, and that's wonderful. It's to be respected, of course, but we should always treat each other as fellow walkers on the path. We're just helping each other. Teachers are helping the fellow students along the way. Maybe we've been doing it a little bit longer, or we've just had the breaks and had the good time with masters, so that hopefully a little bit of their wisdom and knowledge has rubbed off, that we can pass it on. So I'm still very much working on myself, and I actually love that, that it's not that 10 years ago I perfected my art and now I'm just, giving it lip service. No, I'm still working on it. And it is rather like Grandmaster Chen said, when we practice Tai Chi, it's like rowing a boat against the tide. So every effort will bring us forwards, but every time we stop for any length of time, we are carried back. So often we have to rediscover certain things and rebuild strength if we've gone fallow for any length of time. So we're never quite as far back as we were before we started, but it is a continuous effort required, because it's not a destination, it's a path. We walk the path. The practice itself brings the health. So let's give it a go and let's walk the path, and we will do the whole form. So from beginning to end of Lao Jia Yi Lu. Are we ready? Let's lengthen up, chin down and back. Take a moment to calm. Listen behind. Ready? Start. kicking section. Left gathers right, circle down to the left. Left hand and foot come across and prepare. Kick and prepare. Kick and turn. Gathering left and fists, turn palms, pull back toe, kick left, and 3 steps. Planting flowers. And turn. And protect the heart. Step left, gather right. This time keep the palms open as you lift right leg, turn hands, kick. Make fists, toy soldier, quarter turn, and 3-way punch. Prepare. Part 3. As a step through. And we need space on the right for Jade Maiden. Keep going. Right foot back. And a bit too close. Keep going, please. Got a bit lost. I think this is the third time. Yeah. Keep going. High pat on horse. And relax to center. We're going a couple of minutes over time. Please forgive me, folks. Just keep going. End game. Ready? And. This is your special punch to the diagonal. And right hand up, left hand down. Kick the back foot, step down, and for the purposes of this class, we're going to pull the right shoulder back and continue. Very good. Okay, folks, so that's the whole form. I just took that moment. I was a bit lost. I don't think we missed a beat. We just sort of paused for a second. It's all too easy to get lost in a long form if you have a moment's lapse in concentration, even just having to readjust because of the size of the space, or having a random thought flying into your head can be enough to derail the flow. So it's something we have to be aware of and forgiving of ourselves and each other if that happens. It's all part of walking the path. Sometimes we have a little wobble and fall off for a second. So we just get back up and dust ourselves off and try again. But folks, I hope you have enjoyed your class today. You've worked very hard. Please keep going with your standing practice. Even though I have not been diligently standing for every day of the year, I find even just a few days of standing regularly each day, I feel the difference in myself. I feel much more aligned. I feel much more powerful. I feel much more centered. The movements click into place so much easier. I can feel the definition of where a movement should stop, as opposed to just going, well, it's about there. When you do your standing practice, you get into position, you go, there it is. So there's a lot more certainty. Standing practice does not just help you stand, it helps your entire form, and it will help your entire well-being through the day and night. So please join me in my crusade to do it every day, and build a better Tai Chi body and build better health and longevity. So we better finish. Let's just shake out, please. Do a little bounce. Let all your wobbly bits be good. Nice and wobbly. Good. And stand. Lengthen up through the top of the head, chin down and back. Let's bring the feet together, hands together. Xie Sang Hao. And you can say Lao Jia Yi Lu if you like. Well done, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. It's always a pleasure. It's a good workout, isn't it? And I look forward to seeing you next time.
Going